Hey guys, it's Rich with your Monday Spot on the Pagan Perspective, and this week we have a team member topic of do you have a favorite tradition or decoration you would like to share for this time of the year? Now, let me go ahead and turn that off so you don't get the glare. Um, as far as decorations, no. My altar pretty much stays the same year round. It's very boring, very uneventful uh, as far as decorations on the altar and whatnot. So, as far as my altar goes, no, I don't have anything that specifically yells springtime or uh, Beltane or Ostara or anything like that. I rarely even decorate for any holidays around this house. My house usually stays pretty much the same all year round, but my boyfriend is bound and determined that we will be decorating for Halloween and Christmas. So, don't know uh, what to expect there. However, as far as my practice, I don't have any specific traditions. I do have some things outside of the house that happen every year for this time of the year, such as I have daffodils right outside my front door that they come up every single year. They're beautiful, and it is usually the last weeks of February, early weeks of March that they start coming up. Um, but this year they were a little bit later, and that's one of my signs of spring is coming, spring is here, that type of thing. You know, we have brighter days and warmer days coming. One of the other things that I have around this house is I have two trees on either side of my driveway. I believe they are cherry blossoms, but I'm not sure. And those bloom every spring, and they're about right on time. So I love seeing them bloom. They have these big, like puff balls of just pink, and they are absolutely gorgeous. So I have those coming up every year, or blooming every year, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's kind of sad whenever it's done blooming because then all the petals fall all over the driveway and it's a complete mess for about a month because I don't really, brush them away or anything. I just let nature do nature things. Uh, so yeah, those are things around my house that I notice. Um, as far as me personally, my mundane life, this is usually the time whenever um, doing the flea markets or being a flea marketer, we go back into the back part of the flea market. So the way our flea market is set up is the front half that's near the building. Um, they push everybody out of the antique section to come on up because there's a lot less vendors. And in the springtime, they open up the back again so we can get our regular spots back there once more. So yeah, it's a nice thing whenever I would be working the flea market to go back there because that's usually whenever the crowds start coming back out and we have those interactions with individuals that we haven't seen in a long time, or we, you know, have items that we can bring out more because we have a bigger space. People are willing to spend more, that type of thing. So that's one of my signs for spring. However, and this is a COVID-19, you know, uh, trigger warning for anybody that doesn't want to address that or doesn't want to really be bogged down with that in this week's video, that this year has been quite different. For one, I haven't been doing the flea markets as much, but also for two, it's, we're cloistered inside the house. So this is the year that I've actually been able to get a lot of things done. Now, in saying that, I also want to express that, an immense sense of gratitude for those people that are still working, that are in the non or the essential businesses, the people that are healthcare workers, stuff like that. I do want to tip my proverbial hat to you guys because you guys are doing amazing work out there. And I can't say enough how important your job is right now. However, I am one of those people that do not have an essential business, or I do not work an essential job at an essential business. So that's another thing. I haven't had a job uh, quite like this one that I'm in currently right now, being a manager of a storage unit facility. And it's been quite different. I haven't done the flea markets in quite a while, so this is a big change for me. Whenever I was working with, with the Air Force when I was active duty, I had every Sunday off for the most part. So I could go out and sell at the flea market and whatnot. However, now I've been working at the storage unit facility, pretty much since, or like every Sunday, pretty much since I've started there. I think I had 1 month off where I didn't work Sundays. So for the most part, I work Sundays a lot, which are our big flea market days. So the sense of spring is not the same as it usually is. I still have the daffodils. I still have the trees outside that are blooming, and I have trees in the back that are, getting their leaves. My boyfriend is planting different herbs and vegetables and different things here and there that are starting to sprout, and it's wonderful seeing that. But not usual spring things for me. So this is all new for me. Another thing that's new for me is being mandated to stay home. Now, I'm lucky that the job that I work with the storage unit facility, they have elected to, rather than have us collect unemployment, to pay us in order to stay home and stay healthy. The resident managers at the facilities that I work, they live above the office. They have a 2-bedroom apartment or something like that above the office, so they get to go downstairs and take the phone calls and do everything that needs to be done as far as the paperwork and all that, avoiding human contact. So my job right now is to stay home and stay healthy in case one of those individuals end up getting sick. So if they end up getting sick, they'll be quarantined up in their apartment, and I will come in, lock the door, and work the phones. So basically, I'm really in a fortunate place where I'm being paid to stay home and stay healthy, which I cannot say enough how grateful I am for that. I know this is not an easy time for a lot of people out there. But one thing that I've done, at least in this house, is I've done a lot of cleaning. If you watched my witchy room tour that I posted on my personal channel not too long ago, I finally got my witchy room up and running. Now, I do have some stuff that I just brought down from upstairs that needs to either go in here or be distributed throughout the house. So, barring that, for the most part, I have this witchy room completed and ready to go for devotions, for prayers, for spell casting, whatever I need. I also have my computer set up so I can do videos, which I'm doing right here. And I'm hoping it's turning out okay on your end. But for me, it's basically been reflecting on how much the stuff affects me emotionally. I have moved back here from Florida, if you don't follow me, or if you're new to me, that I moved up here from Florida, moved back here from Florida about 2 years ago now. And there are boxes that I still have not unpacked. I have finally gotten to go through these boxes because I'm shuffling things around and getting rid of things that are either broken or that I can't use anymore, have outlasted their lifespan of being that item. So I have gotten rid of a lot of garbage. My boyfriend is taking on the project of the backyard and is doing a wonderful job back there. Though we've gotten a lot of rain, he's been able to get a lot of stuff done anyway. So one of the things that he did was we had an old washer that I was going to take the scrap, but wanted to use the innards as planters, and he had the idea of using one of the washer rings, or using the washer barrel itself, as a burn pit. So we've started having fires outside. I have a lot of dead limbs. I have a lot of paper that we use for kindling, stuff like that. That we've been able to have these little fires outside. You know, not big bonfires, but you know, little contained fires. And I've noticed something else about myself is I don't sit still like I used to. I used to be able to sit still for the majority of the time and just contemplate and be up in my head. But around this time, I don't know if it's this time of the year or if it's because I've always had something to do, whether it be with the business or with trying to get stuff done around the house, that I've become a busybody. So I've noticed that while he can sit there and watch a fire, I have to constantly either be poking the fire or putting another log on the fire or getting a log ready to go on the fire or, you know, doing something. I need something to do with my hands. And I've noticed that about myself in this specific time frame, that although I am usually a lot more relaxed and a lot more chill, I've noticed that I've gotten this spark of energy of wanting to get things done and being tired of things being, you know, so packed away as they usually are around this house, or at least have been in the last 2 years. So I've started to combat that. I've used this time off, you know, this horrible pandemic as it is. I've been able to use that to my advantage of getting things done around the house, getting things checked off the list of things that I've wanted to do around this house. So it's actually like a kind of like a blessing in disguise, and it sounds horrible saying that, and I know this, but it's the best way that I can actually put it in this situation. So for me, this is kind of a blessing in disguise, but also a terrible time, which gives me a lot of mixed emotions. But it's also helped me release anxiety causing structures around this house, such as the boxes being everywhere and being still packed away after 2 years of, you know, living here again. And a lot of that's because I've been so busy doing other things that now being at home and not having those things that I have to be doing outside of the home, I can really focus on the things here. And getting rid of those boxes or getting rid of the items either by throwing them away or by setting them in the sell boxes to be sold, or getting rid of old bank statements from 10, 15 years ago, you know, getting rid of these things and using them for kindling in our nightly fires whenever it's not raining. You know, using these or doing this with these items is actually more therapeutic for me. I turned to my boyfriend yesterday before it started to rain. I said, "Do you realize I have just set fire to things like documents that I've had for all this time, where all the documents are backed up on computers and through the bank and all that, that I did not need to hold on to. And by setting fire to these and getting rid of them once and for all, it has been a huge blessing for me to just, you know, get them out of my life." So there's some things that I'm working through during this time of the year, specifically this year, that I'm noticing both about myself and about the things that I've either held on to, why I've held on to them. Um, can I let them go? And, would it impact my life better if I let them go? Now, I'm not doing the full KondoMari method with Marie Kondo. However, I'm doing something like that. Um, I'm not getting rid of nearly as much as I would if I actually sat down and did the KondoMari method. But maybe I'll do that whenever I actually have everything out in the open and I can see it and determine, does this bring me joy? And a lot of the things that I've put aside, it's either, this is going to be useful, or I could use this in some way, um, or this brings me joy, but I don't know what to do with it. So I kind of have those feelings around some of the items, but maybe I'll tackle those and get after those, after I'm done with the moving of all the boxes and repatriating books that I've bought to my library in the witchy room, the witchy books that I've bought. There's books that I've purchased that I'm like, oh, I want to read this book, and I'm gonna have time one of these days to read this book. And though I haven't really sat down to read any of them right now, I've actually found them again. They've gotten packed away in a box because I didn't have time to read it, and it's got to be moved. So my answer was throw it in a box and, deal with it later. But this year it's different, and this year it feels good to do that. It feels time to do that. So while this year is definitely not like other years, for me it's actually been a healing time as well as somewhat of an anxiety producing time as far as this whole COVID-19 stuff. However, as long as if I and the ones around me, which it seems to be, knock on wood, everybody is staying healthy, everybody is staying aware of what they need to do, and are taking the necessary precautions for them. As long as if, you know, they're doing everything that they can, and I'm doing everything I can, I have kind of used this to my best advantage for this time, this remainder of the time that we are in quarantine, self-quarantine, isolation, whatever you want to call it. And it feels good as far as me mentally and physically, um, you know, doing things around the house, getting things done. So yeah, I've done 4, probably about 4 rooms and a back deck. So yeah, things are getting done around this house, and there's still a lot more to do, but the list is getting shorter, and that's really what I wanted to focus on for this year specifically, as far as something new I might end up doing every year. The annual actual spring cleaning of it, going through stuff and wondering, do I really need this? Is this something that I've been using in my practice, or is it something that I've wanted to use but haven't gotten to? And is there a reason why I haven't gotten to? There are certainly things in my boxes that I just brought down from upstairs that, it brings me joy, and I haven't used it in my practice yet, but I really want to. So maybe this is going to become a yearly thing for me, is going through things that I have and really evaluating whether or not it's healthy for me to keep it. Is it healthy for me to keep on wanting to use it but not knowing how? Or is it really time to sit down and figure out, if I want to use it, how am I going to use it? And if I've been meaning to use it, why haven't I? And will I be actually using it in the future? So a lot of those questions are surrounding me. Maybe I might make this a yearly thing that I do around this time of the year. So maybe that's my Ostara ponderings, or will be my Ostara ponderings every year between Ostara and Beltane, going through all the items in the house and sitting there and saying, do I really need this? Do I want it? Does it serve a purpose? Does it bring me joy? And, being harsh about it too. So I think that's all that I have for this week. I don't think I really answered the question, except I don't really have anything that I do as a tradition for this time of year. I don't really have any decorations besides the ones that come up naturally uh, because of the previous owner planting them. Um, but I do have traditions that I think I might be starting because of this. And it's really given me a lot to think about in terms of how I go forward in my practice and even in my personal life, my mundane life outside of this witchy room. So, things to think about, things to ponder on, and yeah, I'm pretty sure we're on next week. So, until then, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Stay safe. Bye.